2024 headline inflation in northern Mindanao. The regional inflation, or the rate of change of the average prices of goods and services in the region, recorded a 3.1% in the month of January 2024. In January of 2023 and December of 2023, the inflation rates registered at 8.4% and 4.8% respectively. The inflation of the region decelerated by 1.7 percentage points in January of 2024 from the recorded inflation rate in December of 2023. The main sources of deceleration of the January 2024 inflation were the following. First, we have the food and non-alcoholic beverages with an inflation rate of 5.7% in January of 2024 from 9.2% in December of 2023. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels with an inflation rate of negative 0.2% in January 2024 from 0.6% in December of 2023, and personal care and miscellaneous goods and services with an inflation rate of 3.5% in January of 2024 from 5.1% in December of 2023. The main sources of the 3.5 percentage points decrease in the inflation of food and non-alcoholic beverages in January 2024 were the following. We have vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses with an inflation of negative 6.9% in January of 2024 from 9.5% in December of 2023, with onion as the main source. Fish and other seafoods with an inflation of negative 0.1% in January 2024 from 5.2% in December 2023, with fresh flying fish as the main source, and meat and other parts of slaughtered land animals with an inflation of negative 1.2% in January 2024, with fresh pork as the main source. The main sources of the decrease in the prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels in January 2024 were the following. Rentals with an inflation of 4.3% in January of 2024 from 5.1% in December of 2023. Electricity with an inflation of negative 12.9% in January 2024 from negative 10.7% in December of 2023, and wood fuel with an inflation of negative 1.2% in January 2024 from negative 0.7% in December of 2023. The major sources of inflation in personal care and miscellaneous goods and services were other appliance articles and products with 3.5% inflation in January of 2024 from 4.6% in December of 2023. Personal grooming treatments with 1.3% inflation in January 2024 from 7.4% in December of 2023. And hairdressing with 3.4% inflation in January 2024 from 6.1% in December of 2023. The major contributors to the January 2024 inflation in Region 10 were food and non-alcoholic beverages with an inflation rate of 5.7% in January 2024 and a percent share of 78.9%. Clothing and footwear with an inflation of 4.2% and a percent share of 4.8%. And personal care and miscellaneous goods and services with inflation of 3.5% and a percent share of 4.7%. The food commodities which primarily contributed to the inflation of food and non-alcoholic beverages were the following. We have cereals and cereal products with 17.3% inflation, with rice as the main contributor. Fruits and nuts at 11.5%, with banana as the major contributor, and milk, other dairy products, and eggs at 4.4%, with eggs as the major contributor. The commodities that primarily contributed to the inflation of clothing and footwear were the following. We have garments for women or girls with 7% inflation, garments for men or boys at 4.6% inflation, and footwear for men at 2% inflation. The commodities that primarily contributed to the inflation of personal care and miscellaneous goods and services were the following. We have other appliances, articles and products at 3.5% inflation, travel goods and articles for babies at 4.8% inflation, and hairdressing at 3.4% inflation. Out of the 13 commodity groups, 8 showed lower inflation rates in January of 2024. And these were the following. We have alcoholic beverages and tobacco at 6.5%, food and non-alcoholic beverages at 5.7%, clothing and footwear at 4.2%, personal care and miscellaneous goods and services at 3.5%, furnishings, household equipment, and routine household maintenance at 2.6%, and restaurants and accommodation services at 2.1%. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels with negative 0.2%, and financial services at negative 0.1%. On the other hand, 4 showed higher inflation rates in January of 2024. And these are the following. We have recreation, sports, and culture at 3.4%, health at 1.8%, information and communication at 1.2%, and transport at negative 1.3%. Meanwhile, education services at 2.5% had unchanged inflation rate. All the provinces and highly urbanized cities in the region posted lower inflation rates in January of 2024 compared to December of 2023. The highest inflation rate in January of 2024 was in Bukidnon at 5.2%, while the lowest was in Misamis Occidental at 0.2%. So this ends my report on the January 2024 inflation in Northern Mindanao. Thank you very much. And again, good morning, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Zhang. Let us give a round of applause. Thank you po. And now let us proceed with our open forum. May I invite our guest, so our representative from the Department of Agriculture Region 10, we have Mr. Ferdinand F. Caraballe, the Supervising Agriculturist. Good morning po, sir. And also may I invite Ma'am Carites Queja, Executive Director of the CDO, Chamber of Commerce and Industry Foundation po. Okay, dire lang ta sa front, sir. Okay, so sa inyo makita, no, first time na tayo representative po from the CDO Chamber of Commerce. So we all know that one of their main activities is to safeguard the business interest and the business experiences here in Cagayan de Oro. So later on, you can ask if naabay apekto ang ato ang inflation sa businesses nato here in Cagayan de Oro. Okay po. So let us now start our open forum. Okay, our first question from Ma'am Menzi Montes. Can we have a mic po for Ma'am Menzi? Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Sir, good morning. Nandiyan ang taas pa para ng CDO. RD, pwede na ba explain sa public na mas tubos ito ang inflation rate for January 2024 compare sa 2023. Kaya kung boto na unaon, mas ma'am naman kalaliton karon kaysa 2023. Then follow up guys ko sa Toro Chamber. Ma'am, sa kakaroon ba? Kabaliban ka na perspective no sa inflation. Bisan kamo gani. Sa Oro Chamber ba, sa tuwing comment kay, siyempre, marang madala ka ng sa inflation, ng marang nagtasos na suggestion. Di ganang ginagawa na karoon sa Senate, nga pa-addiction na. Sir, parang mga panahon na tayo, ano ko yung data kasi mag-comment na sa karoon niya. Yan lang ba, previous na to na respondat sa PIA. Na matunod nga ang presyo sa bigas, kay ano na ba sa harvest pero karoon kay, gabi na sir, nag-market news ni, ang additional 20 kilos sa rice, kay 3 na per sack ay 15 to 20 pesos. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Benzi. Kompleto gid ka sa tanan. Oh, okay, so ang ato ang inflation, our inflation rate for January 2024 is already 3.1% compared to 4.8% in December of 2023. So meaning nag-ubos ang atong inflation rate pero it doesn't mean nag-ubos ang presyo. So ang pasabot niya is naghinay lang ang pagtaas sa presyo sa ato ang mga commodities. So naaghapon siya pagtaas, Ma'am. But then in terms sa pagpaspas sa pag-increase, dili siya pareho atong December of 2023 nga kung i-compare pod nato medyo nagubos man siya gihapon no, pero karon mas hinay ang pagpaspas sa pag-increase sa atong mga prices.
Actually, my context of finance, the first time for the Honor Chamber to join us, the President says it's regrets no, but actually one of the pressing issues right now is the 100 pesos. And I think for all the workers, they're looking for that. No? But for the business sector, actually we have a position paper, we're drafting it. Although na-pass na siya sa Senate, no? We're very that's not really ano, but last November kasi we already had an increase. We pushed for the 35, but for the region and that's implementable this year, which is around 33 pesos. So if with the 100 pesos increase again, which is proposed by the Senate, Senator Miguel Subrino, the good senator, that will really eventually, all very well, mataas yun for the business sector. That's why we have a position paper and we will actually release that in the week or two. we also have talked to our congressmen or representatives on that one. We will have a FGD. I'd like to ano lang on that na the regarding mag sa pamalitan. One of the things that the chamber is really looking into is ang kanang mga inclusion, etc. We really have to talk about food should be affordable. Food, we've been to other countries and benchmark on that. And food is really one of the things that is affordable and accessible to everyone. And I guess along that line, we're trying to also i-apply sa atong mga sweldo sa atong mga trabaho. That's why in November, when we were called by the regional tripartite wage board, we were there and we presented a 35 peso increase. So for the 100 peso, we kind of, sa business sector is really kind of taking a very good look at the increase. Kasi that will really affect eventually by this year kung ma-implement na siya.
Okay, good morning. Actually, it is a good news kasi sa food in general, there's an increase in inflation from last from 9.6 to 6. Alam mo naman na ang food sector is an inelastic goods, meaning what is demanded never changes despite the increase in prices. So, meaning the consumer absorbs the price of the commodity. Kasi hindi nagbabago yung quantity demanded natin sa bigas kahit nag-increase ang presyo ng bigas. So, consumers really absorb hindi katulad ng other commodities na elastic siya. But you can forgo if you don't have a budget. Pero pagkain hindi mo forgo. Kakain ka talaga. So, you really have to absorb. But the scenario seems to be favorable kasi bumaba ang presyo. Bumaba ang pagkain. Especially yung sa fruits and vegetables kasi malaki yung pagbaba from 9.6 to negative 6.9. Although sa bigas medyo very minimal lang yung from 25.2 to 24.2. In fact sa aming price monitoring yung sa bigas namin in fact ang imported tumaas pa. But sa local field rice, medyo stable naman siya. And all other commodities, bumaba siya, particularly the vegetables and fruits. So, I hope this will be sustained, particularly sa gulay. And with regards to rice, tapos na ang milling season. So, we're expecting a dry season. And in fact, we're expecting El Nino. So, we don't see na bababa siya sooner unless papasok ang imported rice that can supply the required supply to the market rice. So, yung output natin, compared to local supply, medyo din natin siya maasahan ngayon kasi dry season na. Dami na season. So, maybe by November, the wet season harvest, it can cover up with the required supply.
Okay, thank you po. Our next question, let's have from Strong Radio, Mr. Michael Bustamante.
Okay, so thank you very much. Actually, sa ato ang for our housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, for the specific items, no, for this commodity group, ang pag-ubos yun sa ato ang electricity. So meaning na atay decrease in terms of expenses or prices on our electricity. Kaya ang atong inflation from 10.7, negative 10.7% in December of 2023, it further decreased to negative 12.9%. So meaning there's really a decrease in terms on the amount we pay in electricity. And then aside from the electricity, ang taas po nga pagpaspas ang pagbaba is on actual rentals now paid by tenants, that is 5.1 to 4.3. And then we also have wood fuel, including kanang mga kanita isugnod bitaw nato nga mga sugnoron kanang mga pagsugnod, that's wood fuel kahoy. So ang ato ang inflation rate for December 2023 is negative 0.7, and it even went down in January 2024 to negative 1.2. Ang imong dimension, you mentioned about titihan. This is not included here in this commodity group. It's part of our transportation commodity group. So it's not on the on this commodity group.
Relation to questioning mo, sir, no, ako sa kanina sinabi mo, it's from May 30 to 31 hours hosted by the chamber because, again, the business sector is very important. One of the reasons why we didn't have less investors here because of the high price of electricity. So more than the chamber, the chambers in Mindanao particularly, very adamant in ensuring that there are some measures how we can do discussions on how we can bring down the cost. Like, and then also on the transport, we're going to have a transportation and logistics forum summit is coming in August on June 21. Of course, the chamber. So these are all the things that will be discussed. Very important ano sa ating pagnegosyo. Events that will be happening para hindi mo siya na-discussan in this year, particularly in Mindanao. Dagan mag-way factors na dyan, sir, no? Basically, uh, for particularly sa pagtaas, sir, ang pamagin na ito, daghan kay aspects na siya. Number one, ang mga cost of goods na logistics, fuel, tanan pinakurinti, labor, taas po na siya tanan, kasaka na siya, always. No? One of the things, for example, sa food, we think for the chamber, it's really access to food. Saan na ninyo ang inyong mga pagkaon, dugo nila sa inyong asa mo. Raw material should be near. Sa chamber kasi we have a program where we are trying to localize our raw materials. Isa man na sa mga concept na tayo, so there are several factors which I hope that our legislators and our planners, technocrats, are also addressing to that. So we're hoping that naman sa tayo mga programa sa gobyerno, and hopefully that can also be translated in the local government. Hindi lang din siya national ang paano siya, the local government should also think among themselves as to how they can localize some of the aspects where in costs using
Okay, so let's start with Bukidnon. Actually, ang the inflation rate of Bukidnon in December of 2023 posted at 6.3% and then went down in January 2024 to 5.2. Now, the main driver on the although it's high in terms of inflation, if we try to compare it within the provinces of within the region, from the 5 provinces and 2 HUCs, but still the inflation rate decreases. From 6.3, iubos siya 5.2, meaning dinay ragyapon ang pagpaspas sa iyahang pagtaas sa iyahang presyo. But then, dako lang gid siya, no? In terms sa atoa in the entire region. Now, ang main driver for the Bukidnon inflation at 5.2 is on food and non-alcoholic beverages. It's 8.5, but still it went down from 11.5% in December 2023. And then next is housing, water, and electricity and gas with negative 1.3 in January of 2024 from negative 0.4% in December of 2023. And then for health also, it also went down to 4.6% from 5.4%. Now, when we talk of decrease on inflation or increase in inflation, ang pinaka ano gid nga movement if na ay changes sa price on food and non-alcoholic beverages. Why? Because kani siya nga commodity group, kani siya ang pinakataas of weight among the 13 commodity groups na atong dimension kaganina. So once nga na ay changes on the food and non-alcoholic beverages, ang tendency ata inflation rate will also move significantly. Okay? Now, sa Misamis Occidental, same thing. From 2.9% in December 2023, it decreases to 0.2% in January of 2024. Now, ang major contributor on the decrease is still food and non-alcoholic beverages. 2.7 siya in December of 2023. Nag-decrease siya to negative 2. So meaning, nag-decrease yun ang prices because it's negative inflation. Okay? That is for food and non-alcoholic beverages. Now, for the transport also, in December of 2023, it posted negative 7.3, meaning nag-decrease na yun ang prices. The more sa January 2024 that the inflation for the transport posted at negative 9%. So these are the reasons and these are the contribution why there is a decrease on the inflation rate of Misamis Occidental and also with Bukidnon. Actually, all the provinces man showed decrease in the inflation rates. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much po. Our next question, let's have, okay, Sir Medina.
Okay, so the purchasing power of peso for January of 2024 posted at 0.80 centavos. Actually, the same lang siya sa atuang December na purchasing power of peso. So, mo na siya ang pila na lang ang value sa imuhang piso karon. So, So, since 2018 man ang atong base year, no? Kung mag-adto ta og grocery, magpalit ta karon, magbayad ta for example og 100 pesos. Ato dayong ikuan nga sa una atong 2018, 80 pa man lang unta ni pero karon magbayad na ko og 100 pesos. Pero kung ituan nato siya sa base year nga 2018, that's only 80 pesos. Mo na siya ang pasabot sa atong purchasing power.
Okay, may question pa po. Okay po, ma'am, from the FCC.
So far for January of 2024, ang transport inflation is negative 1.3 from negative 1.6% in December of 2023. Meaning, ubos gihapon ang presyo sa gasolina kung i-compare nato. Like for example, sa January of 2024, kung ato siyang i-compare of January 2023, no? Because this is year on year nato siyang inflation. So, nag-ubos siya, no? Nag-ubos siya because it's negative, nag-ubos ang iyahag yung presyo. Now, ang pinaka-ubos nga pag lowest gid nato no nga pag decrease is on gasoline. Kaya ang inflation nato sa December of 2023 it's negative 5.7 but in January of 2024 the inflation rate posted at negative 6.8. So meaning nag-decrease gihapon ang ato ang gasolina pa. Kung i-imagine nato katong sa unang panahon January of 2023 and December of 2022, ang presyo sa gasolina na sa mga 80, 70, anak pa. So karon na nata sa 60, 50. So naubos gid ang presyo sa atong gasolina if we compare it with the prices a year ago.
Ang third number, transport. Source to the market. That's why ang chamber here is really pushing for localization. For the LGU, they need to produce their own food. Ang dili kasi nila natin mag-produce ng rice. Kaya number one naman sa importer that are in the world. I just got the news yesterday. Post na siya. We are number one in the world. Next to China. So, imagine na ninyo. Atong bugas. So, kailangan siguro magtuon ng which I do eat, no, every day. So, patagod siya, production, dako gid kayo effective yun. Yeah. And wala tayo control because it's outside. Wars, affected tayo na talaga. So, the best solution, siguro, sa amo is really to localize our production. Ang LGU, dapat, should have a plan for that. And again,
ang production. Increase in production by the use of latest technology. So, gi-emphasize niya ang mechanization, digitalization, use of hybrids, effective use of fertilizer, effective use of water, para ma-increase din ang production. In fact, we have a MOA with IRI, with PhilRice, to directly assist the farmers to boost their production. Kasi we cannot go against importation unless we produce it on our own. Kasi if we have low production, we have no way to feed our population except to import. So, kailangan talagang mag-produce tayo locally. So, in support nga sa chamber na to localize their production. In fact, si DA Region 10, meron kaming production support through RCEF, yung seed distribution, fertilizer vouchers, free irrigation na ngayon. So, we directly support it to the LGU para locally they can produce their own requirement. That's all, sir. Okay. Mo na, sir. Actually, sir, we are waiting for the approval ng land use plan. Kasi nasa Congress na yun. Although, siguro ginaharang sa mga land developer, but we are hoping na it will be enacted na. Kasi once it is approved, meron talagang delineated areas for agriculture that cannot be converted into subdivisions. Pero since wala pa tayo balaod, open pa gid na. Pero we're waiting for the approval of the land use plan.
Okay, thank you po. Okay, Ma'am Manzi.
Okay. For the ready-made food and other food products, it actually increases from 4.8 now December of 2023, nag-increase siya o 0.1 percentage points lang manoon in January of 2024. So, ang component man good for the ready-made food, kaning mga example, I think it's there on, wait ha. Okay, all na nga mga food na pwede nga diretso nato na kanon, no? Of course, it's that ready-made food. Kanang ano siya, for example, kanang mapalit lang nato sa mga it's not ang ano man good kay considered man good siya kung nasa mga karinderya, it's on restaurants, pero kaning mga food stalls lang, mga ingani kani siya ang mga considered nato nga mga sa kuan kay siguro daghan na man good kaayo ang demand for that, di ba? Especially karon mga students nga nagbalik na ta sa ato ang face-to-face nga classes, and as you can see, mas comfortable sila nga magkaon, magpalit na lang for the ready-made foods. Siguro if naay increase on the demand for this, naapoy tendency on the increase of its prices. But then, in terms sa increase, it's only 0.1 percentage points in terms of the inflation.
You're asking kung ano sa to, ma'am? Actually, when we had the economic forum last December, one of the best business now is really food, no, and agriculture and on manufacturing. mo gina siya ang pinaka mo thrive karon as we go along for the next couple of years. Food is of course always gina siya in demand, ma'am. We all have to eat every day. So taas gid kayong demand. That's why ingon ganina ni RD nga dako kay siya og kuano effect sa dako kay siya portion sa inflation. So sa chamber is always pushing for availability of food at the lower cost, no? So if we process na nimo, when you process your food, that will involve more costs kung ma-process siya. So, do you know that in other countries ang atong famous karon nato diri og ang lahi ang ang ilahang menu, that they have more fresh products nga na-appeal sa food rather than processed. Mas grabe ang sa other countries, ma'am, sa ASEAN, they have more vegetables that they eat, no? Compared to Filipinos. 'Di ba? So, even ang ilahang, makurat ka dito, kay ilahang menu dito, pareho og ngalan sa atoa, pero lahi siya, mas daghan siya fresh rather than processed. Because it's really expensive to process na. Additional na maguna siya cost. So, yes, the chamber would like to have more availability sa fresh products, gid ma'am, no? It's really more expensive to process foods.
mga offer sa mga restaurant nga mahal ang rice nga mahal ang magigay duhang bugas niya kag nanduwan ganita ang importer to the rice sa Pilipinas niya kung nanduwan to dunta ka importer dapat kung daghan sulod nga mga imported niya mga rice ato dapat mabarato sa dunta ato ang bugas pero mahal na dapat.
Only rice is a business strategy na sa kung ano no sa restaurant to entice more customers to kumbaga build loyalty sa kanilang menu. In fact si ano nga si Senator Villar nag ano pa nga nagpanukala pa nga ng batas to pagbawal ang anti-rice. Pero again, it's a business strategy. But they are still subject to the price increases or the real prices in the market. So, ano na nila yan, computation na nila kung paano sila kikita. But it seems na kumikita sila kahit na unli-rice. Kasi nga, ma-enhance yung pagkain ng ulam. But we are discouraging it. Kaya nga, in fact, sa amin sa DA, may panunumpa kami sa pagtitipid ng bigas. May panunumpa kami kasi whatever savings you have, you can feed those who don't have rice. Ganun lang. Mahal karon yun ang imported rice. Kay mahal, nagtaas ang world market sa rice, no? In fact, India did not allow us to import their basmati rice kasi nga kulang na nga sila tapos ibenta pa nila sa Pilipinas. In fact na may glut talaga worldwide kasi dumadami na yung rice consuming countries, not only Southeast Asia but South Asia, Middle East. In fact doon sa Northern Hemisphere kumakain na rin sila ng bigas. So habang dumadami ang kumakain ng bigas, kumukulang yung supply. Kasi because of the food preparation, may mga food preparation kasi rice base, lalo na yung sa mga Chinese menu na may rice talaga. So, nag-shift sila from bread or pasta base to rice base kasi because of the influence na rin ng Chinese on preparing food which is rice based. So, na-influence silang kumain ng kanin. And the spread of the ASEAN population sa Northern Hemisphere, ang mga Pilipino na nag-migrate doon, kanin pa rin ang hinahanap. Hindi talaga sila kakain ng pizza or spaghetti or burger. Yeah, partly. Kasi rice talaga tayo. Hindi tayo nabubuhay ng walang rice eh. Rice is life talaga sa atin. In fact, kung i-compare mo si Vietnam and Philippines, although we have the same population, pero si Vietnam, malakas silang the same production, pero yung consumption level nila mababa lang. They only eat once a day, lunchtime. Pero Pilipino, we eat 5 times a day. Diba? Breakfast, lunch, dalawang merienda pa, rice-based pa, biko, puto. So, malaki talaga ang consumption natin sa bigas. Although we have the same population, the same area of production, but in terms of consumption, doble tayo Pilipino. So, kaya sila doon may excess, kita kulang talaga tayo kasi talagang malakas tayong kumain ng bigas. Siguro ano ma'am, ay yung ano lang, replacement or yung alternative to rice. So, kasi banana or kamote or ano. Pero sa ngayon, kanon kita. Okay. So daghang diabetic sa Pilipinas kay tungod sa bugas. Yeah, i-launch pa lang sir, using hybrid rice for the upland ecosystem. Kasi before kasi ang hybrid rice is on the lowland ecosystem, no? Flooded. Ngayon, they try to apply it on the upland to increase the yield. Kasi pag upland kasi mababa talaga ang yield. So why not apply hybrid sa upland? Baka mapataas natin ang yield. Kasi at least sa upland, minimal ang rain requirement, water requirement, and at least matatamnan natin yung mga areas that are not irrigated. And mostly areas ng mga IPs. Kasi sila din ay at least they can mobilize their resources to produce rice. Yes sir, tinuturo naman yun sa mga farmers.
Na ko'y at sa kaon sa rice pa. Kuan man god, ang eating habits should be formed from the very beginning. So, ang pamilya daan maanad, siyempre notice na to ang lower income. The only thing that they can afford is rice, no? I mean, magluto ka isa ka kilo, daghan na kaayo mapakaon. So, mas daghan ilang rice kaysa sa sudan. So, again, taas kay na siya nga hisgutanan because it's really on the how we also resolve the poverty. Taas kay na siya nga hisgutanan. Pero kung for those who are ang education siguro nato sa pagkaon sa mga bata siguro sa sinugdanan pag yun, no? Nga they should for example in my family Ilocano, so we're more on vegetables and we're ang rice dili kayo, so half rice, no? Half rice good. So siguro mo nang slim tingali, no? Dapat lang we don't have to, but again ang eating sa kamo lagi na siya grabe ang consumption sa Pilipino sa rice. And rice based food ang uban nga mga produkto nato, no? So I know it's really a overhauling of eating habits and all in the business sector. I guess syempre ang snack nato na utro, no? Ang snack nato na anay rice. And then pwede di ay mag-snack of rice, no? So there are a lot of it's freedom of enterprise also. So siguro education, I would say, no, educating how we're supposed to eat properly. Kato sakto ingon ni sir na alternative food, root crops, and to me kasi vegetable should be mostly dapat na siya. And then but the vegetable now is also expensive, no? Unsaon kay nato siya i-stretch, no? Ang kanato atong daily nato ang poverty ko nato sa food, no? When we buy our food. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much po. Okay, let's have last two questions for this morning. So, announce na nato si Sir, and then next is si Sir Michael Bustamante.
I'm Daniel from RPM Media. I would like to ask about Sir Ferdinand. Is there
So consider hello, good. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah. So considering the higher demand of our goods, specifically the rice, no? The goods of rice, how can we ensure we will prioritize to market our local goods, specifically our farmers from Northern Mindanao, ang rice na to, no? How can we ensure that we will prioritize to market first the supply of rice rather than or over the importation of rice from overseas or from foreign countries?
Ah, prioritize gid ang lokal kasi sa entry pa lang sa Bureau of Customs and our PQS, ginakontrol na nila kay naman tay minimum access volume for commodities, no? Ang naay mab karon ang karne, ang bigas, and our basic commodities. Kasi kinokontrol nila yan to protect also our farmers. So, ang in fact sa market din, designated yan or delineated. Meron talagang label na imported siya. Meron ding label na local commercial rice siya. So, ang una nilang dinidisplay talaga niyan is ang local. Kasi we want to patronize our local harvest. Kasi yan ang major determinant ng pricing yung local. And we really want to protect our farmers. Kasi kung hindi tayo magiging responsible in managing imports at magiging lugi ang farmers, eventually walang magtatanim na farmer, di ba? So, yun ang una nating piniprotektahan. This should be the rice production local is sustainable and profitable. And para in the future, meron pa rin tayong local supply.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you po, Sir Bustamante. For our last question this morning.
Kung hindi ka istorya sa business, mga negosyante, ikaw ay makita lang ito ang mga kaibigan na pagsaka, mahal. Pero, kung ato kung istoryahan siya sa sarili ng kaibigan, hindi pa damay, naapoy ng atong nakadungog ba, iwasan lang ng babagot-bagot. Pero ang ilang mga kaibigan na pala dito, nagmahal.
Okay. Kuan sir, syempre ang pagnegosyo sir dili raman daghan gid na siya cost when you cost of doing business ang tawag nato ana. We have cost of doing business. Of course, again, sa cost of doing business aside from the ease of doing business nato naaman pud tay gitawag natong cost of goods, no? If our cost of goods is very high and imported, that's why mahal siya. Nagi siya, lahi gid siya sa localize ang ato ang produkto. And in business also, you have to take risks, no? So when you take risk, you put that amount of risk kay para, syempre, dili man pud pwede nga wala po'y negosyo. We are in a free enterprise, kita free enterprise man gid na, no? So definitely the business will always put that level of risk, ipatong na siya ninyo when we sell our goods and when we do services. There's always it because again, aside from that, that's why lagi ang cost of goods na siya naaman siya that diha sir mo abot diha ang cost of raw materials, electricity, you know, mga inputs na siya gagamiton nato sa pag-produce sa among products o pagbaligya sa mga when we do services. So, dili man pud pwede nga wala na po'y kita ang negosyante, no? Because the business sector is actually what drives economy. Kami ang mag-empleyo ninyo. So kung wala po'y mga negosyante, wala po'y mag-empleyo. Tama? So it's really how we will work together. That's why during the November nga regional tripartite board, we indeed said we're amenable to the 35, no? Which is implementable karon nga year. with the new 100, imagine na lang na nimo, example lang nga scenario, kung ikaw nga ano na kay trabahante nga 100 ka buok, increase na nimo og 100 pod, no? That's how much? 10,000 a day. A day times 30 days. Bila? That's 3 million or 300,000. That's 300,000 on top. Ang issue ani karon is ang productivity magud, that's why ang si chamber karon, we are looking really on the productivity issue, either sa pagtrabaho, ma-maximize ang pagtrabaho sa trabahante, ma-maximize kung farmer ka, ma-maximize nimo ang imong square foot nga dili ka magtanim og 1 hektarya nya isabwag lang nimo dito ang mga seeds mo tubo, dili man na siya ingana. It's really about the productivity issues. So when us as a negosyante, kung maayo ang atong productivity nato, no, ma-maximize nato ang pagtrabaho sa mga tao nga 8 hours siya, dili siya pwede nga, dili-dali, no? Because some other negosyo, mo lagi kung sa negosyante pa, productivity issue is very important para ma-bring down namo ang cost. But sa uban man gud ang mga cost of goods, lisod sab namo siya i-bring down, no? So again, there's risk that we also have to add on, no? Napay salary nga mag-demand magid ang mga workers, which karon man siguro naa naman ta sa minimum, but there's also a law wherein below 10 ang imong empleyado, you're not obliged to pay minimum. PMBE na siya. So again, because kung isa ra sa imong trabahante, naatay mga policies so maybe we have to revisit how we will be able to put it together para mas magkasinabot at tanan, no? So dagan siya factor, sir. You cannot just when you sit down in the discussion table about all these things, dili na siya isa lang ka sector imong pamation, no? So we're hoping that when we sit down, kumpleto tanan, no? Kumpleto ang tanan nga mga resources, people nato nga makahisgot sa mga problema gyud. Taas kay ni siya nga hisgotanan.
Okay, so wala dili sa last na sa national ID. Okay, so katong nawala nga tracking number, transaction receipt number during the registration, if ever nawala to siya, and then if i-deliver na, for example sa PhilPost ang ilahang physical ID, they have to present any valid ID. Iano lang nila, explain na nila nga nawala to ilahang transaction receipt. And then if ever nga gamito na niya ang national ID, kay wala gid siya lain nga IDs, no, nga magamit niya kay mag-transact siya, for example sa DFA or any private and public institutions, pwede siya moadto sa among office maskin wala ang transaction receipt. Moadto lang siya, and then she will or he will just give us the information, and then we will try to trace and give him for the meantime the e-fill ID, which has the same functionality with the physical card. So i-honor gihapon na siya sa any establishments or any offices, government or private offices, ang e-fill ID. Paper lang na siya ang ihatag sa for the meantime. But they can use that one in transacting any official business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So that ends our open forum this morning. So we really had a great discussion. Let us give a round of applause to our discussants. We have Director Caritas Queja from the Oro Chamber. We have Mr. Ferdinand Caraballi of the Department of Agriculture, Region 10. And of course, the officer in charge of PSA 10, Dr. Janet C. Aves. So thank you po. Thank you for all your cooperations to our media. And now let us have a group.
Sa pagdiriwang ng Civil Registration Month, nakikiisa ang Philippine Information Agency sa kahalagahan ng pagpaparehistro ng mahalagang impormasyon ng mga Pilipino sa ating bansa. Ang civil registration ay hindi lamang simpleng gawain, kundi isang mahalagang hakbang upang magkaroon tayo ng pagkakakilanlan, pagtibayin ang ating civil status at makilala ang ating mga karapatan at pribilehiyo bilang lehitimong mamamayan ng bansa. Sa pamamagitan ng pagpaparehistro, nagiging maayos at epektibo ang pangangasiwa ng ating pamahalaan sa iba't ibang serbisyo at nagbibigay daan din ito sa mas mabilis na pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng mamamayan. Gawin nating inspirasyon ang pagdiriwang na ito upang mas mapataas pa ang ating kamalayan sa mga proyektong naglalayong mapabuti ang sistema ng civil registration sa ating bansa. Halina't makiisa sa mga aktibidad ng 34th Civil Registration Month.